So we're learning a Maimer on Parshas, really the Parshas Vayetze. This Maimer was said in Parshas Vayishlach, and Maimer is speaking about Yaakov Avinu telling Hashem after his encounter with Esav, or leading to the encounter with Esav, says, Katonti mikol hachasodim mikol emes, that I became so small, so insignificant from all these kindnesses that you have showed me. Constantly showed me time after time all this chasodim. When he says ki b'makli ovarti sayad, and they don't mention the continuation of the pasuk, but that the continuation of the pasuk says, I crossed the Yarden with a stick. I came here with a stick. We know that Yaakov was stripped out from all his wealth by Eliphaz, the son of Esav. The son of Esav made sure to take away all his possessions, right. And therefore Yaakov came to Lavan, to the house of Lavan, with nothing, with just his clothes, barely his clothes. And now,
he had a staff also, no?
Yeah, he says Kibamakli. That's what he was saying. I only came with a stick. And then he says, Vato, and right now, now there's two camps. Remember, he divided it to two camps, and now I'm here with two camps with tremendous wealth and all these things. So he's telling Hashem, I remember how I came here. I remember where I came from.
Went to Esav, he says Katonti, right?
No, before his encounter with Esav, his plea to Hashem.
Yeah.
Starts with Katonti mikol hachasodim. I'm not deserving all this.
Right.
So why did Eliphaz did not kill him? So Eliphaz was sent by Esav to kill Yaakov when Yaakov was traveling to Lavan. Some say that he couldn't kill him, but Eliphaz liked Yaakov, so he told Yaakov, "What should I do? My father told me to kill you." So he told him, "If you take everything I have," it says, "Ani choshev kemes," that a poor man is considered like God forbid, someone that passed away already, and therefore you can take all my things and you can tell him that you. So let's see. So this is a maimer that is associated with Yutas Kislev.
Right.
And the Alter Rebbe is describing the same thing, because he was in jail and the story goes that he was taken with the carriage, a black carriage.
Yes. Can you find it?
And
I had it.
It's number 5.
Okay, good.
I tapped number 5, but it didn't come up.
Yeah. It's just there's not a good connection in this room.
So
Want to use my phone?
maybe if you slide, would it go with the slide? Slide from 1 to 2, 3 to 4. You can slide the page. Yeah, keep on going till you get to number 5.
It's too bad we didn't have
Katonti.
I could have printed it for you.
Anyhow, so he was in Petersburg, meaning he was in jail, but such a jail that killing people. It wasn't back then. It didn't have, especially in Russia, there was not such a thing as a normal court system that for things that are much more for less severe accusations, people were disappeared already, and he's coming out of jail. So he said, Katonti mikol hachasodim. Let me see, where you at?
I think
It should be the 5th page from the beginning.
5th section, no?
No, let me see.
Oh, okay.
No, you went too far.
Way too far.
Yeah. It's should be in the very way. It's before the parsha, before all of it. There's I'm doing it here. Oh, here we
Now
go.
I woke up.
Beautiful. My pleasure. So it's after leaving Petersburg, after going out of jail, that was the Igeret, that was the letter that the Alter Rebbe wrote to Chassidim. The letter started off, Katonti mikol hachasadim, just like in Yaakov Avinu.
It's in the
Shebechol chesed v'chesed, shakadosh baruch hu yisrael adam tzil shvaruach b'meit. For every chesed, every kindness that Hashem is doing to you, you need to be more humble. Shouldn't say, oh, I deserved it, and that's why I get this chesed, and he didn't get this chesed. That's where the wealthy, that's the pit of the wealthy. That's the downfall of the wealthy. The moment you say, my ingenuity, my innovative mind, and creativity, and hard work, and brought all this success, and the reason why you don't have because you're a lazy bum. And that's how they feel many times.
What about the effort?
And they give, and because if money had to do with hard work, then the construction workers should have been the wealthiest people in the world, right? They're working the hardest.
But if you did the effort and you received money,
right? Who gave you the power to do a hard work? Who gave you the power to get out of bed? So. All these things. I'm saying that I'm only explaining that that's the nisayon. That's obviously, if it wasn't nisayon, obviously the wealthy took certain steps that other people didn't take, and sometimes people also took those steps and it didn't help them. Right? You have two people who invest in stocks, and one guy got lucky and he made money, and another guy lost money. So they're both smart people. They both did the research. They did everything. And they did not talking about
like doctors, some are rich, some are
the Gemara says clearly that every profession you'll have rich and you have poor. Otherwise, we'll say, oh, this profession makes you wealthy, so everybody would have gone to that profession. The fact is that people know that being a hedge fund manager leads to a lot of money, but not everybody becomes a hedge fund manager.
I know hedge fund manager.
You don't.
And some of them go to jail.
He doesn't have. Wow.
A hedge fund manager. Went to nothing.
And he doesn't have.
He didn't pick the right software. He didn't have the right investors. He didn't get famous. Or
There you go.
Hedge fund manager. That title doesn't give you.
Exactly. So every chesed that Hashem is showing you, needs to make you more humble.
I had a friend. He wrote a book. A novel. He wrote a novel. It was a very good book. It should be up there. It didn't go anywhere. I took a book out of the library. It was the first novel. It's all over the place, and her, for whatever reason, they're selling her book. But he wrote 100,000 things, and half of them are rotting in the basement.
Right. So if these two authors meet together, and the successful one would tell the non-successful one, you see, your novel is beautiful, but your marketing was not good. This was not good. You don't. Many times, it's not reasons.
It's not the book. It's not the content. Somebody could paint as good as Van Gogh, and nobody knows about him. And Van Gogh.
After he dies, they'll know.
No, but you know what? He wasn't. The people, Gauguin, and a lot of other painters knew about Van Gogh when he was alive. It wasn't. He wasn't a total nobody when he died. It was.
So instead of feeling pride that you merited the kindness of Hashem, so the more kindness Hashem is doing with you, you need to be more shafal, which is mean more humble, and that's what Yaakov said after he merited all the chasadim, all this kindness. He said Katonti. The closer you get to Hashem, every chesed that Hashem is doing with you, it means an additional closeness to Hashem. He uplifts you closer to godliness. So you need to be more humble down here in this world. The more you are kamei, which means the closer you are to Hashem, you become less and less. You become less and less efes. You become more ayin ve'efes. You're more nullified, more insignificant.
You see that with Rush Limbaugh. He's got stage 4 cancer, and he gets on the show every day. Today I woke up, I thank God.
Right. V'zoi b'chinas yamin.
So this word kamei,
Kamei means close to him. The more closer you are to him,
does it mean specific close to God? Or
Yes.
Close?
yeah, close to Hashem. Kamei is referencing to Hashem.
Okay.
And you become less significant in your eye.
More what?
That's a statement of the Zohar. That's why tzaddikim, the greater tzaddikim they are, the more closer they become to Hashem, the more humble they become in this world. Why? Because they now see the greatness of Hashem, so they feel so humble. They get closer, they see what Hashem is and who they are. And they say, it brings more humility. Like they say about those who claim to know when Mashiach is coming, they say those who say it don't know, and those who say it, and those who know don't want to say it. Right? Those who say it don't know, and those who don't, and those who know don't want to say it. Right? So meaning the closer they get, the more humble they become. They can get a lot of publicity and say, hey.
Even zero.
Yeah.
But Yaakov Avinu wanted to say it, and he got stopped.
Yeah.
Those who know don't say.
But it wasn't that he didn't want to say,
Right.
but he didn't.
I'm sure the one who knows it also does want to say it, but they don't say it because they. That's the right side in Kedusha. That's the Yamin. What does the Yamin do? The right side always embraces and bring people closer. That's the functionality of Yamin. V'chesed la'avrom. That's why in boxing they say you watch the lefties. Right? You have to watch the lefties. Is Gevurah. Because the right you're anticipating. Because usually people are writing, but he's lefties.
Left hook.
Every time I go to shul, everybody got the tefillin on the right hand, and I'm on the left, and I'm.
Yeah.
How could it be that? Everybody's this way, not that way.
So we said about Avram Avinu was chesed. And yeah, so the closer he became, the closer Avram Avinu got to Elikus, the more he katens, the more he felt lowly and lower. Umizeh, from the Alter Rebbe's interpretation of Katonti mikol hachasodim, the more chesed, the smaller I become. Muvan shinyan katonti u'inyan kloli. We see that this is an instruction to all. It's a general concept. In general, it says that whatever the patriarchs did, it's a siman lebanim. It gives us nesinas koyach and siman. Meaning, siman is an instruction for us what to do. Nesinas koyach is also giving us the power to go in their footsteps, in the obvious footsteps. There are two general concepts. There's more individualized concept, particular concepts, and very general ideas. The idea of Katonti, I became small, I became minute, is a very general concept. The general rule is the closer you are, the more you are kiloi, the more you are bottled, the more you are nullified. And this is the purpose of the neshama descending to the physical body. So ultimately it should be uplifted, elevated to be in a state of kiruv, in a state of closeness. Up to a point, how close do I want to become? How close do I want to get? Because the Zohar says to be one with the body of the king, to be sucked in, so to speak. Lishaev is to be, it's like vacuumed in. Be part of the king's body. Closeness to Elikus in such a way that you're losing your identity. That's bitul. The Rabbi mentioned yesterday, bitul ayesh, bitul b'metzius. So bitul b'metzius is the total bitul. Tachlis ha'ilui b'bchinas hakiruv, the highest level of kiruv, of closeness, shekosher mabutil de katonti, which is associated with the nullification of katonti. It's explained in a few places. The Rebbe Rashab, see this book sticking out, it's called Ateret. So the Rebbe Rashab is a long mimer on Katonti in this book, and the Rebbe is referencing to this mimer. He writes, V'zewach, V'inem vu'al bekam v'kim, this is explained in a few places, she'inyan zeh u'mitzad bechinas ha'chasodim k'vi shem ba'ilom ha'tikun. This concept that the chesed from above, kindness from above, causes bitul down here, causes nullification, because on one end you can say, oh, I'm worthy, that's why I'm getting it. But the right approach is that the more chesed, the more humble you become. So he says, she'inyan zehu mitzad bechinas ha'chasodim k'vi shem ba'ilom ha'tikun, because it's the way chesed. This chesed is generated from the world of tikkun, from the world of refinement. Tikkun is
refinement, is it correction?
Correction, and that leads to refinement. The correction is
the prelude.
The tikkun is it's really a world of biru. Why am I doing the biru? I'm doing the biru for tikkun, right? What does the tikkun do? Refine. It takes the coarse, the dross, the mud, it gets rid of the dirt, and now it's refined, it's beautiful. So I'm cutting to the chase. I'm saying it's already refinement.
Yeah, I love it.
So
in these times, just from a shape again.
So there's two types of chasodim. There's chesed that is associated with the world of tikkun, and there is chesed associated with the world of tohu, the world of chaos. Two types of, you can get chesed from tikkun or from tohu. There is chasodim from tohu that are associated with kedusha, with holy sparks, and there's chasodim that are associated with the other side. But the chasodim that comes from tohu and chasodim that come from tikkun are completely opposite. We soon see why. The closer you are, the more you are nullified, right? The closer you are, the more humble you become. We're going to analyze the prayer of Yaakov Avinu. What does Yaakov Avinu say? Eloike Ovi Avram, the God of my father Avram. And then later on he says Katonti, but he starts off with Hashem, the God of Avram. Kamvua b'Torah. It's explained in Torah Or, which is the Chassidic explanation on the Parsha. Yaakov is Palel Shiyum Shachalav Makifim the Kedusha. Yaakov directed his davening, his goal in davening was to tap into the Makifim of Kedusha.
Outside.
Yeah. Makifim of Kedusha, the encompassing powers that are associated with Kedusha. Shela Ovis, primarily associated with the Ovis. Why? Lazar Loi, he needed help. He wanted to be able to tap into the makif of Toyu, to is Esav. This is before his encounter with Esav.
Right.
So Yaakov's understanding the source of Esav, and he's asking the fathers to help him, because Yaakov is associated with the world of Tikkun. Esav is associated with the world of Toyu, which is higher. Yaakov needs help. He's praying to Eloike Avram, Eloike Ovi Avram, and he's asking that the makif of Toyu, he should be able to tap into the makif of Toyu. He wants this makif of Toyu to be revealed down here in this world. The encompassing powers of the world of chaos, you want to bring them down into this world. And this is also a general concept. That there's a general job, we'll call it a job, that tikkun has to uplift and refine toyu in general.
Right.
The world of toyu needs to be refined by the world of tikkun.
He's on the level, he can tap into the makif of tohu.
But he says I'm not in the level, I'm katonti, but I need.
He's expecting to do it.
Yes, he's saying I need the help of Avraham Yitzchak.
He's not asking for
Yeah.
nothing.
He's not. He thinks he's not gonna. He's not on any level. That's
But he eventually did though, because he wrestled with the Sarah. So
Right, correct.
he's able to do it.
And he says by Tikkun doing his job, Tikkun himself is benefiting from it. That the world of Tikkun itself is going to be uplifted by dealing with the world of Toyu. And he says, this is amazing, he says his intention was that what are the chasadim of Tikkun causing you humility? Right? You get chasadim from Tikkun, they're bringing about humility.
Right.
And from here he's implying that the chasadim of Tohu creating the opposite. The arrogancy coming from Tohu. So he says, I want to impact the world of Tohu in particular, that the chasadim that coming from Tohu will bring about Katonti also. They will bring about humility as well. Meaning that those who receive from Tohu, the chasadim that come from Tohu will generate humility down here as well.
And that's what Leah was supposed to do with Esav, right?
It says that she was destined to marry Esau,
Yeah.
so she needed to work with him, whatever it is that needed to be corrected. He needed to work with him. But then the fact that Yaakov marries Leah means that Yaakov is now in charge to work with to Esau, and he's trying to work with him. But ultimately, in a way, he's giving up on him. He's telling him, I kept the 613 mitzvahs, I'm ready for Mashiach, I have Shor Chamoir, I have Mashiach from Yosef, I have Mashiach from Yehuda, from David, ready for Mashiach, are you ready? And Esav is still with the 400 men, the 400 powers of Klippa, and he's not ready, and he says to him, you know what, I'll walk slowly until I come to Seir, I'll come to your place and we'll elevate you then. So, V'olu Moishim V'al Tzion, it says Moishim is Mashiach will eventually come to the mount of Tzion, Lishpoit et Esav, to judge the mount of Esav. So it will be a time later on it will happen. So
we had this in the Haftorah.
but this is amazing that Yaakov he want to bring that Katonti will happen also with chasodim that come from Toyu. Not only chasodim that come from Tikkun should bring about humility, but also chasodim that come from Toyu will bring about humility. So this we can take it to ourselves to say whatever chesed it is, that whatever goodness that came our way, even though it maybe came through our wisdom or some kind of improvisation or whatever it was, that we were able to, I met a guy, I'll give you an example, like you see what you can do with, a guy selling his house, right? He's selling his house for, and I saw with my own eyes, he's selling his house for $2 million, for 2 years he can't sell his house. Okay, the house sitting on the market for 2 years. One day, maybe a month ago, a guy comes and he says, I'll give you 1.8 for your house. So they argue back and forth, they get to 1.850. He sent him a contract, he's about to sign the contract, and he calls me, he tells me, I couldn't sleep the whole night, I don't know if I should sign the contract, what, I'm going to move to another place, a smaller place, I don't know what should I do, what do you... The seller is asking me, what should I do? For 2 years he's waiting to sell, the guy is offering 185, he's not sure. It says about Achashverosh, like he couldn't sleep, right? Couldn't sleep at night. Doesn't know if she sell or not. Lo and behold, Hashem puts an idea in his mind that if he can fix the house, he can get much more for it. If he spends another 200,000, he would get 3 million for the house. So why should I sell it for 1.8? Let me sell it for 2. So he decided, he writes the buyer directly, he writes the buyer a letter. He wrote a letter to the buyer. Listen, I decided that if I put 200,000 into the house, I can get 3 million for it. But if you want, I'll give you the house for 2.6 minus minus the 200,000. That if you want to do the renovation, if I do the renovation, it's 2.6. If you do the renovation, it's 2.4. The guy says it's a deal. And he buys the house for 2.4 million. And Hashem gave him 550,000 for one email. You needed to wait for a year.
I know. 7 years.
7 years.
And it's only 400.
One email.
This is amazing.
And you know what? And the guy felt Katonti. He said, Chassidic Hashem, it's Chassidic Hashem.
Was religious?
Yeah, he said, Chassidic Hashem. He said, everything is Hashem's chesed, nothing to do with him. Even though he wrote the email, he couldn't sleep at night, all the stories. Chassidic Hashem.
That's a story.
Yeah.
That's amazing, huh? Rabbi, what do you think personally about this situation? If you had to be in his shoes,
I think Hashem loves him. And Hashem put the patient in his mind, because you think a normal person, a normal situation, you're waiting for 2 years to sell your house. Your house is costing you, carrying it, costing you 100,000 a year. Carrying it. And Hashem gave him the patient. I told them that there's the famous test of the marshmallow test. I told you about the marshmallow test. They did, I think it was Oxford or Stanford University, one of those known universities. They did a marshmallow test with the children for 30 years test, and they offered kids a marshmallow, one marshmallow now or 2 marshmallows in 10 minutes. What do you want? Two kids like 6, 7 years old, and they said, I'll give you 1 marshmallow now or 2 in 10 minutes. Most of the kids said, give me now. I'll take 1 marshmallow now. The kids that wanted 2 marshmallows in 10 minutes and willing to wait, they followed them along. They took their names, they followed them along as they were growing up, and every single one of them was extremely successful. Whatever area in life they went, one went to music, one went to sport, one went to business, whatever they went, they were very successful.
Delayed gratification.
So being able to, patient is the name of the game. And the guy was patient, and it was rewarding, because if you sign that paper...
Those kids were tortured. They had the marshmallows out there. Some kids would go, they look at it. It's crazy. Look at the clock. It was terrible. It's torture.
and I think...
I have the same problem. I saw the video of that.
And I think that we all do, to some degree, but I think the Torah teaches it to us at early age, because our kids, some of my kids says, he eats meat, and then he says, I want to eat yogurt, I want to eat ice cream. So no, 6 hours. So, and it instills in them that now they know that they have to delay it. And then we grow up with this other kind of delayed gratification, nida, all the different things that have to be delayed. And it's, the Torah is teaching it to us. So religious people should become easier, because we have already
a system.
Yeah, so yeah, and then this is just something that just happened. I saw
2
it
million,
myself.
2 million for 2 years. 2 million, 1.85, 2.4.
Yeah, amazing. It's really amazing. והנה מבואר בתרוער שמצד יעקב יכול לסבירו אך החיסון היה מצד עשו. He says that Yaakov could affect the birur of Toyu. Yaakov could, if it was up to Yaakov alone, he could fix the world of Toyu. No problem. The problem was on the part of Esau. The chisor and the deficiency was on the Esau's side. And he wasn't ready for the shleimus, for putting it together, for the perfection of the world of Toyu. This Completion will be done in the time of Mashiach. Lo asid lavoi. Bigmar habirurim. The Bigmar habirurim means at the end of all birurim, of all refinements. Uchedivre Yaakov ad asher over ladei nesira. I mentioned it before, prematurely, when Yaakov comes to my master, to Seir. When I come to Seir, Seir was known to the place of Esav. It says in the time of Mashiach, Shenemar, it says in the prophecy of Avadia, Meshim, the Meshim is referring to the Mashiach, will come to the Mount of Zion to judge the Mount of Esav, and then Hashem will have his Melucha, his kingship. We see at the end of the Parshas Vayishlach at the Haftarah, Shezeu Tachlis HaBirur. That would be the completion of Birurim. It took place, this started off in the beginning of creation. Before the sin of the tree of knowledge, that the world was created in a complete way, without a blemish. The world was created in a complete way. This is, by the way, also the answer to all the scientists that are claiming that the world is billions of years because of the order of things that disintegrates, the disintegration levels, so they date things to billions of years. And our claim to them is, it doesn't say that the world was created in progress. The world was created complete in one shot, meaning when Hashem created Adam, He didn't create him a baby growing up to be an Adam. He created him a complete man. So if a scientist would look at Adam and say, analyze Adam on the first day, he would say this man is 100 years old or 1,000, whatever. This world is so old. But Hashem did not create the rocks in development or in evolution process like we see today. The baby is born and it grows up. He created things al milui, in a complete way. Bereshis Rabo Re'eh made the statement, Shezeu klo l'sinyan gilo l'kus po'elo. Meaning, the fact that the world not conceals, and today it conceals a likus, but initially it was not designed to conceal a likus. Rather, it's a place that it fits for godly revelation, a place suitable for godly revelation. It says in Shir Hashirim, Bosi legani, I came into my garden. Ve'isa midrash rabo, it says in midrash rabo, legenuni lemokim shoykor batchilo, which means that was my place. That was my initial place to begin with. Meaning Hashem saying, this is the place where I was feeling comfortable. This was my garden. Until you expelled me from my garden. In a way, you took me out of my garden because of the sin. You made it a place that is not suitable for godliness. You created a place that is not concealing godliness through the sin.
Yeah. So the creation of the world is against nature, because everything is ready. And after Hashem departed, starts nature.
Hashem never really departed, but Hashem concealed
Make me
himself.
out from my garden.
He concealed. Hashem is concealed.
Then starts nature. Babies, eggs. After this.
No, their children were born.
No, when Hashem created the world, He created the laws of nature as well. But at the initial step, everything was created in one shot. Now, the animals that mated with other animals, then they gave birth to babies. And the babies, they grew up to be older. And so that process, even it says, for example, about Avram Avinu, that he prayed for old age. It says Avram Zoken, the Torah tells Avram was old. Why do I have to tell us? Because up to him, there was no such a thing as an old man. You would be 100 years old, would be just like a 10-year-old. The same, body-wise, he would look the same. So people did not recognize who is Avram, or distinguish between Avram and Yitzchak, right? Because there's no such a thing as old age. And if somebody would look at Yitzchak, he would say, oh, he's maybe 100 years old, and look at Avram, he's saying he's 10 years old. They didn't know what is what. So nature started that creation. Hashem created nature as well. But initially, He started off with a complete world. It's like I can make you build a company, or I can take you and give you a company that is already established. So Hashem gave humans a world that is already running. Let's get to the base if you don't mind. If you're not in a rush. Sunday, no?
Rabbi Naftali.
They don't start on time anyway,
That's
no?
also true.
ואולו משים שזהו תכלס הבירור כמו שבתחילה סבריה קודם חטא צדד שהיום מלאוני but the world was created complete שזהו כלוס ינגילו אלוקוס באילום כמו שכוסו בוסי לגני. So we said that the world was a place where primarily in the beginning that was the primary residence. כי עיקר שכינו בתחתונים ויסו לשעל די חטא צדד ואחתונים שלאחו. And after the sin of the tree of knowledge and the sins to follow, Nistalka Shechina Me'asarkia, the Shechina, divine presence, was removed. Nistalik from Me'eretz to Rakia, from the earth to the firmament, all the way to the seventh firmament, Ad Rakia Shvi. V'achar and afterwards, in line 1, page 9, Omdu Shiva Tzadikim, 7 righteous people from 7 generations, starting from Avram, that was the first one, Ad LeMoshe, up to Moshe, that was the 7th one, Shuashvi, through their work, they were able to bring the Shekhinah back to the earth, like the way it was before Chet Tzedaz, and that's why it says in the time of Matan Torah, the death that was taken away from the world. And they reintroduced the death of the world by the golden calf. Yaakov was ready for this.
Wait, the golden calf?
Yeah, golden.
There's no death before that?
No, it says that when at Matan Torah, Hashem took away the.
I'm sorry.
Hashem took away death from the world. That's meaning that's the. Oh, that's
For a short time.
It was a very short time because Moshe Rabbeinu.
Those 40 days nobody died.
Once Moshe Rabbeinu did the final step of bringing the Shekhinah down to the 7th level, that was it. And then they sinned again. They blew it again. It said they were given 2 crowns, and the crowns were taken away from them.
Good. So I think
We need a do-over, a mulligan, as they say in call.
As we said before, that Yaakov was ready to complete the tikkun and the elevation, the refinement of the world of Tayu. As V'rod Solif was Be'esav, and he wanted to do it with Esav as well. So the Esav should also recognize that that Hashem is the true king. So Yaakov wanted to give it over to Esav. And Yaakov was doing it in 3 ways. He had 3 ways of doing it. One way was the Doron, which is the gift, giving Esav gift, appeasing him, praying to Hashem, and preparing for war. Yaakov prepared himself for 3 things, and we'll stop here. We'll continue, God willing, tomorrow.
Rabbi, why is Sarah respected so
I got
much
another.
his father's father?
We have a whole.
From where he
no, we can't.
came?